Hey guys, how you doing today? Sorry about the lack of updates. I've been really struggling with my YouTube channel. I've been trying to upload videos, but I think my videos are going too long, so I got to actively try to shorten them. I don't have the status yet where I can start posting big long videos. So I've been trying to challenge myself to make longer videos, but it turns out that longer videos won't upload. So I think I'm going to aim at 15 minutes. And 15 minutes should be enough time to get my point across and not belabor the point. What's been banging around my head today? The title of this one is going to be Capitalists Are Delusional. I've been having more and more conversations with capitalists recently. It's something I actively pursue. And it's really obvious that they're caught in a propagandistic loop that they can't escape from, and they refuse to actually acknowledge reality or the facts in front of them. Because I think if they were to acknowledge reality and the facts in front of them, they would have to cease being capitalists, right? So I think the delusion is we all have a choice, right? That, you can choose where you want to work, right? You want to go work at a place, go work there, choose a place. So first of all, they refuse to acknowledge that all you're doing is choosing between which billionaire you want to work for, right? All you're doing is choosing work that the wealthy say is work. That if you were to say, well, I don't find any of the jobs that the wealthy put on the table as valid work or as something I want to pursue, then their response is, oh, starve. That if you don't sell yourself to a market that's dominated by billionaires, then you will starve. And the capitalists, of course, they define value based on what is worthwhile for them, right? And so if you suffer and die, but it makes them a penny, well, then that's valuable, right? But if you create a work of art that inspires a generation of artists to pursue the arts, that's worthless and we're not going to support it, right? This is how the capitalist thinks. And it's self-justifying, right? Oh, well, if it's valuable, you should be able to make money at it. But of course, who has the money? The billionaires. So they're only going to fund something that they consider valuable, right? They're only going to put money towards something that they consider to be of use to them and of value to them. And this relationship has existed as long as, like, my background is theater, right? Which is why I work in a toy store, because I give as little as I possibly can to the capitalist system. And I mean, give toys to children, right? Like, that's as noble a pursuit as you can find in the society, as far as I'm concerned. But if I was to try to pursue this, pursue theater, or pursue the arts, I mean, there's a very, very, very narrow group of people here in Canada who can actually be involved in the arts scene in a way that could support them financially. And you'll find, more often than not, when you find people who are actually able to support themselves through the arts, it's because they have this incredible history of being supported by people who are of the traditional jobs, right? Lawyer, doctor, engineer, that sort of thing, who are in this sort of upper crust of the society. And then you find that when they become, because they have been supported and they live in that society, then the type of art they perform is just sort of distractionary nonsense for this tier of citizen, right? You put on, like, plays that were written in the 1940s and 50s, or it's just like another Shakespeare, right? Stuff that's completely uncontroversial, doesn't affront their sentiments at all, and you could barely even call theater anymore. It really is just like distractionary nonsense that doesn't actually challenge anything, doesn't actually say anything meaningful, and it's certainly not timely whatsoever. And this is what capitalism forces on the populace. And if an artist were to stand up and actually begin producing controversial art that actually spoke out against the capitalist class, they would cease being an artist. Pretty simply. They would just stop. And of course, you can always find the exception to this, a person who does manage to find some kind of foothold in the artistic community where they're saying something that goes against the capitalist system. I think the rap is a really good example of this, where, I mean, for goodness sakes, you got songs like Fuck the Police, right? Like these sort of anti-capitalist, anti-establishment sort of songs. But then what capitalism does is it just co-opts it. It just takes it, repackages it, resells it back to the populace. It's like what happened with the green energy movement, right? There was a green energy movement that was threatening the power of the capitalist class, so they just co-opted it. They just took it for themselves, and now everything has green slapped on it. Even Trudeau is talking about, oh, we're gonna have a green economy. He buys pipelines. He's not interested in a green recovery or a green economy. He's interested in placating the masses and ensuring that the people who have power in the society maintain that power, right? He's not interested in actually ameliorating the power dynamic that breaks the society apart. He's not interested in actually addressing that in a serious way, unless he's absolutely forced to, which seems to be happening. But it's difficult to have these conversations with capitalists because they refuse to engage in it in a serious way. Like, it's like you're talking to fundamentalist Christians who believe angels are real and that Jesus Christ is coming back at any moment, right? It's that same kind of level of delusion, that they live in this fairy tale world where everyone is making choices that are free. There's no system of exploitation where people have to choose which billionaire they want to work for. There is no organization of billionaires who are actively controlling the society. Like, none of that exists to the capitalist mindset. Everything is just, oh no, we live in a free world. And then you start talking to these guys and you realize that, like, and of course these guys are like anti-government subsidy and all this. And then you begin talking to them about their own family history and you realize that, oh, well, they're the beneficiaries of being given free land. Their family was given free land by the government in the largest government subsidy program in the history of maybe mankind. And, but we're supposed to really hate government subsidies, right? Even though they're like the largest beneficiaries of it ever. Like, for goodness sakes, I have family who recently sold the land that was given to them by their fathers, which was given to them by their fathers, which was given to them by the government. Like, I have family who I have witnessed this firsthand, and they walk away from the table with millions of dollars, right? And the money and the job that they were doing, while crucial and important, they don't work very hard at it, right? Like, I just feel like there's this incredible delusion that comes out of the capitalist class that refuses to acknowledge, like, you get capitalists, these rural farmer types especially, complain about teachers, right? They complain about teachers and they say, oh, teachers get 2 months a year off. Well, fuck, what do you think farmers are doing in the winter, right? You think they're harvesting their fields? You think they're sharpening blades? Like, what do you think they're doing in the winter? They're doing fuck all. They're taking time off. They're vacationing, right? They're taking the wealth that they made from the subsidies that they get from the government, and they're going on vacation. And they get probably more time off than these teachers do. And yet they bitch and moan about the teachers. It's just absolutely asinine and delusional. But what do you expect from a group of people who think Jesus Christ is coming back at any moment to save the populace from the unrighteous? Like, there's a reason why the capitalists are losing the philosophical discussion. There's a reason why, because everyone who is earning a wage, everyone who's renting, fundamentally understands that the only choice they're given is this superficial choice. They're given a choice between sell yourself to one billionaire or another, or one wealthy capitalist or another. There is no don't sell yourself choice, right? And if you say this to a capitalist, you affront them on a moral level, right? Because not working for a capitalist is the same as not working. If you're this delusional capitalist class, right? Forget about people like Charles Darwin, who outright said it was his the freedom from labor that allowed him to make his discoveries and pursue his research. Forget about people like Isaac Newton, who lived kind of a labor-free life, able to pursue all of these ideas kind of unfettered from capitalist exploitation. Forget about the countless examples of people who got like J.K. Rowling. She is on government support, welfare, and she writes one of the most influential novel series of our generation. Forget about all of these examples of people who, when they actually receive proper support from a non-capitalist system, they go on to do absolutely wonderful and great things. Like, if you're a delusional capitalist, you can't acknowledge these realities, right? You have to believe the same way that you believe that a wizard is coming back at any moment to ameliorate all of Earth's problems. And of course, you're on the side of good, obviously, as this exploitive capitalist who enslaves populations. Which that's another thing, the capitalist class, they can't actually acknowledge, right? They can't acknowledge that capitalism begins with slavery and genocide and has continued to move forward with slavery and genocide. And yet they'll point at communist societies and be like, oh, look at this mismanaged economy they had one time for 5 years, right? Or even less. And you're like, oh, so there was a leader that mismanaged the economy for a moment, and that illegitimizes the entire communist movement. But capitalists are allowed to enslave entire cultures, commit genocide against other cultures, and even drop nuclear bombs on other cultures. And we're supposed to take you seriously? But capitalists, because they're illiterate, because they're delusional, and because they have no shame, because they're largely sociopathic, they can't acknowledge these things, or they choose not to, right? They can't actually say, we are, obviously capitalism is a system that is perpetuated by violence and death. They have to keep perpetuating this myth that everyone is interacting in a market on equal stature, everyone's making choices with equal levels of power, right? They have to ignore the distortions that a billionaire class put into the society. They have to ignore that if a billionaire doesn't want a certain type of labor to happen, then that labor just doesn't happen, right? Let's say, let's not even pick something like art, because I think capitalists are completely anti-art, right? Because any reasonable art that is put forward is going to automatically be anti-capitalist, right? And so they can't allow that to exist. They have to actually crush that down. So but if, let's say, somebody wanted to actually restructure segments of the economy in order to pollute less, right? Let's say that people wanted to actually put forward a business model and put forward something that similar to what exists now, but instead of polluting the environment, it would be carbon neutral. Well, they can't do that, right? And they can't do that because the capitalist class has rigged the game against them so that they aren't able to do that. That there are enormous government subsidies that go into corporate interests that, for God's sakes, Trudeau bought a pipeline, for Christ's sakes. There are these enormous forces at play that work completely against that idea. And people aren't free to do that. What are you even talking about? And the option that the populace has, the only choice that the populace has, and it's like what George Carlin said, right? You're given a choice between paper or plastic, but you're not given a choice to not participate in the system of death, right? That if you see capitalism for what it is, as a genocidal slave system of death, and you say, I choose not to participate, then capitalism's response is, then you will starve. And so you're forced to participate in this system that's designed to destroy itself as well as everybody around it, as well as the ecosystem that we rely on. But if you're a capitalist, you have to deny all that, and you have to live in this delusional space in order to continue propagating this evil system that eats everything it touches. Anyway, guys, that's my time. I hope you're having fun out there. Live, love, laugh, do all that stuff. And hey, like, share, subscribe, send it around. Us communist types need to start rallying together. So what the hell? This channel, let's do it.